Welcome to Healing Echoes. Today we have with us Sam Mitchell. Hey, Sam.
Hey, good to be here. Thanks for having me on.
Awesome. I would like to start with you just, introducing yourself and telling us a little bit about you.
Alrighty, so hello everyone. My name is Sam Mitchell. I run the podcast Autism Rocks and Rolls. It is a podcast about autism and how we cope with daily struggles that you may or may not understand. Through the podcast, it's grown so much we developed sponsors, a nonprofit, a board of 8, events in Indianapolis, where I'm from, and speaking engagements. I've spoken in Oklahoma, Orlando 3 times, Canada twice, Stewart, Florida, and Washington, D.C.
Wow. What kind of got you into this?
When it started, I joined my high school's media club, and I fell in love with it so much that I was introduced to podcasting, and I wanted to make my own to further the skills because I didn't want to wait till college.
So how would you define neurodiversity and why do you think it's important for society to embrace it?
Well, I mean, should be told, I think you know, like yourself, because you've stated it before, like how much you know about it, and how it relates to you in particular and your family.
Mm-hmm.
It exists, and it's not going anywhere. You can't really fight off autism.
No, you can't. It's definitely there. So in your advocacy work, what are some of the key messages that you aim to convey about neurodivergence or autism specifically?
We're trying to destigmatize it, that people on the spectrum are not broken. There's things they can do. I'm in college at my own pace in a dorm right now with no supervision.
Yeah,
That's a step in the right direction.
I love that. I think that is very important. I know when we've talked before, we talked kind of about that stigma and how I've gotten remarks like, "Oh, you don't look autistic" and things like that. So there definitely is still some stigmas that need to be undone for sure. So you mentioned a nonprofit. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so the podcast really started in 2019, but then through the nonprofit, that's when we saw that, oh, people are starting to listen. They want advertisement on my podcast, which I didn't know what that was
Yeah.
until I did research about it. So, but then it kept growing. And then it was, I got someone wants to hear me speak in Oklahoma. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, we're got this big idea from the board. We're going to plan a gala.
Yeah.
Okay. So it just kept growing and growing. I don't think you get any more organic than that.
Wow, I like that. I love that, there was a demand for it, and then before you knew it, it was it was taken off.
Well, first, it changed really. First of all, it was just look at what Sam can do. Now it's more of a movement where
Yeah.
I'm just putting all the pieces together and I'm literally leading people. Now I'm just in the background. First, it was like forefront, and now there's people behind me. Now these people are now in front of me, and I'm
Yeah.
just the guy in the back doing the work.
Yeah, that's awesome though, I love how it changes. Um, Obviously talking about how it changes, what are some of the challenges that you've faced?
Well, there's a lot we can go into. So I have really bad anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
I have anger issues. They're not as bad as they once upon a time where they were violent,
Mm,
but now I found ways to cope with the anger. I have heightened sensitivity with mine is closed, but some on the spectrum could be different. It could be tastes for some
right.
could be smells. I know a restaurant in Bloomington I can't go into because the smell is awful and I'm not going in there at all. I'm serious. The smell is dreadful. I will
Oh, I
never go
believe
in there
it.
because it smells like someone took a big vomit and no one has cleaned it up.
Right? You're like, I'm not going a foot into this building.
No, clean it up. Really? How hard is it to clean up puke? It's your job. You someone's probably in the restaurant is gonna puke. Not because of your food, just because they might be naturally sick. We all get stomach bugs.
Right. Somebody clean it up, please.
Literally.
So you do public speaking as well, correct?
Hmm.
Okay. So, can you share maybe an inspiring or, triumphant moment from your journey as a public speaker?
As a public speaker, let's think. There's several, but the one that always comes to my mind with that is it was actually my first one. Wasn't even going anywhere yet, really just Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this vendor who her sisters, well, it was a sister who had two brothers. Both I think were on the spectrum. Now their goal is to hire people with disabilities.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the brother either heard about what I was doing or the brother heard me speak, and then he told my mother, "Your son gives me hope."
Mm, wow. I love that. I mean, it to some people might seem like a simple statement, but there's so much behind that. Um, Hold on, let me look here. Because I know there was quite a few different things that I wanted to cover, so I want to make sure that I hit them all. So, especially with the podcast, but even with the nonprofit, do you have any future goals set, and what might they be?
Future goals set for now is hopefully I can continue with this, but also venture out in broadcasting as well. I mean, that's what I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
There's definitely a lot of opportunities. I might be able to work around in the broadcasting field with a job through college. I'm hoping that goes well. We'll see.
Mm-hmm. Are you guesting on a lot of podcasts currently?
Yeah, I do. I still do that. I try to get on at least once a week. But if
That's
it doesn't
awesome.
work, it's not like I have to be on every podcast. That's something I wake up every day grateful for. Is I've been on over 800 podcasts. That is a
Wow.
privilege of itself that I try to carry with honor and dignity.
Yeah, I mean, that's incredible. That's awesome. I've only been on like four, so you've definitely got me beat. Um, what advice would you give individuals with neurodivergent traits who may be facing challenges to advocate for themselves?
Well, just know that these traits are not your fault. I mean, autism doesn't come with a manual. I mean, it's
Yeah.
the way they're raised. But unfortunately, there's some things in the book that you're gonna have to know about. Okay. I have foot and mouth syndrome. Okay, that is medical condition. Now, does that mean it's gonna go away? No, probably down the road I'm gonna say something pretty stupid. But but it doesn't mean I can be managed. It
Right.
doesn't mean I can probably, instead of slipping up every day, I slip up once a year.
Right.
And then the height sensitivity, that is something you cannot help. Now, does it bother me that people can handle wet shirts some days? Yes.
Yeah.
But I also realize, well, even though it bothers me, I can't help it. And that's something small compared to missing out on other things.
Yeah. Um, how can the community better support and uplift these voices?
Know these traits. Know how we handle this stuff. Because I don't cry at a funeral doesn't mean not a bad human being.
Mm,
Now, for some it is, I won't lie to you there. But
yeah.
for some others, it's not.
Yeah. It's because they're neurodivergent. I think that option doesn't come across a lot of people's minds. There's not really that space held for us yet. How do you balance your personal life with all the advocacy work that you're doing?
Well, with the personal life, I just try to do what I can do with personally. I mean, professionally, I try to do all the work I can with the calendar. I see what I got going on and what I need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then personally, if I squeeze in some time there, I will. I know that during the around 7 or 8, I'll probably do music therapy before an interview. Another interview coming up at 9:15 later tonight.
Um, what is a message or something that you want to say that isn't specifically related to a question?
Well, I always say to people in general, I just think if the world could be nice and not just act like idiots, we get along so much better.
Yeah, it's a very simple way of putting that. I love it. Kindness, I think, definitely. If there was more of it, there would be more space for everybody, for sure. So what is the way that people can get in touch with you, in touch with what you do, or support all of the
You can
advocacy?
go to my website, autismrocksandrolls.com. That's where all my nonprofit is and the podcast itself. If you're just looking for the podcast, you can find it pretty much everywhere on your favorite media platform. I'm on YouTube, iHeart Radio, Spotify. If you
Right.
think I'm there, I'm probably there. I've done this for a search Google in your search engine optimization, something will pop up.
Awesome. I love that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mhm.